and welcome everyone
welcome.
to our kitchen. Oh, we just got big on the screen.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, welcome to our kitchen. I'm so excited to see or hear that we have people from all over the country. That's super exciting. So I'm Brandon.
Sherry.
This is Sherry.
We're Mama Kong.
We are Mama Kong. We are the first Cambodian food business in Austin. We've been operating for about 3 years now, maybe a little bit more. Primarily, we do catering. We do pop-up kitchens. That was sort of our baseline.
Supper clubs.
Host private supper clubs, that sort of thing. And our mission is to expose Austin, and hopefully, people pass on the word. So, Austin and beyond, about a drastically underrepresented cuisine, which is Cambodian food. So, as we go through the cooking, we'll get into a little more just sort of personal details about why we're doing what we're doing, what our background is, and all that sort of stuff. But that's a brief introduction. We want to make sure that we kind of stay on track because we know we're at an hour here.
It's gonna go by fast, guys. We got a lot of stuff for you to do.
Yes, we do.
What are we making today?
We're making Cha Kreung.
Cha Kreung.
That's what it's called.
All right. First things first, we're gonna make some rice, and while that's cooking, then we can get into some other stuff. But first thing before that is get a drink and let's
Amen.
Salud and so moi. Thanks
Cheers.
Everybody for coming. So you get to talk. I'm gonna go make rice.
She's going to do the rice thing. That's going to be simmering while we're doing everything else. So we want to get
so
that
one
started
cup of rice actually is 2 servings. So since there's 2 of us, we got 1 cup right here. So, all right.
All right, there she goes. So we are asked very frequently what makes Cambodian food Cambodian food, and more specifically, how is it different from its neighbors of Vietnam and Thailand? That's probably the food you're more familiar with, right? And there are more longer, more politically nuanced answers, but if I were to give it in one word, it would be kreung. So the dish Cha Kreung, cha means stir fry, and kreung is a mashup of very specific herbs and spices that are used in Cambodian cooking. So these herbs and spices you're going to find in Vietnam, you're going to find in Thailand, of course, but it's the way that they come together, the quantities that you use that really make Cambodian food unique. So that is very, very special to Cambodian cuisine.
I'm back. So 1 cup of rice is 2 servings. You're gonna want to rinse it a few times until the water looks as clear as you can get it. And for all you Asians out there, your finger is going to be your measuring device to see how much water is needed in the rice. So I always use my middle finger, and then the water line needs to come to this side.
It's very scientific. Very scientific.
You know what's what. Okay, so the water is right here, which is perfect.
Perfect.
So it's ready.
This rice is going to be great. So the interesting thing about kreung is when you blend it or you beat it in a mortar and pestle, it can be used as a meat marinade. It can be used as the base of a soup. And they're very specific ingredients. And so you're going to get this consistent flavor in a lot of different Cambodian dishes. But that's what's so fundamental about kreung and Cambodian cooking.
Yeah. All right. So this is probably going to be like the most annoying part because the stir fry, I think, is like one of the easiest things to make. But because it's made with kreung, there's like a lot of little things that go into it. So start with your lemongrass. This is from my sister's backyard that we got yesterday. So you're gonna peel off, this is already washed actually, peel off the outer layers and discard of that because it's, you want it stern and, I don't know, like a whippable, I guess.
Whippable. Goodness.
You know what I mean. Okay.
I need a drink.
I don't know why I said that. Whippable. That's ignore me, guys. Anywho, it's gonna look like this. So you're gonna take that outer layer off, give it a good rinse, and then, can you see? We're gonna chop off the end, and if it gives like on your knife, that means you have to go down further. I know it's like a waste, but you don't want it too hard. And I'm not gonna cut, this takes forever, I'm not gonna do it, I'm just gonna show you guys how to do it. So you're gonna take your knife, take your lemongrass, and cut it as thinly as possible. So it's gonna go like this. Make sure your knife is sharp, otherwise you'll be here all day.
And keep your fingers out of the way.
Yeah,
too.
tuck your damn fingers, guys. Tuck it. So chop like that. And I have a lot of stocks here. I'm not going to do all of this for you guys. Like we said, we're on like an hour time limit. So cut your lemongrass.
And heads up, fair warning, lemongrass is very tough if you've never cut it before. So you're really going to have to, and in fact, Sherry's a lot stronger than me. I hate cutting the lemongrass. Also, I don't know.
Just
I have terrible knife
pain
skills
in the
at
ass.
same time,
It
so.
takes a long time, and like if you are a ninja like my mom, she can do like 3 or 4 stalks at once. I don't trust my skill, so I'll just do 1 stalk at a time. So anyway, this is lemongrass that I've taken from my mom's refrigerator. Also, when I have downtime, I will cut it ahead of time, and then you can freeze it. So when you need it for like a cooking class, for example, it'll be ready for you. So 2 cups of this lemongrass is going to go into your kreung. So that's 1. And can you see?
Nope. Sorry, I'm a bad assistant.
And then 2. So there's your 2 cups. And leave that there. And you're going to take your galangal. It looks like that, and you only need about like 6 to 8 slices, which is like about that size. So just cut them kind of thinly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. Looks like this. Throw it into your kreung. And Brandon is going to help me peel.
Ooh, I so rarely get to help. Y'all should know that when we actually cook, whether it's at a supper club or a pop-up or something, catering, this is really usually the language. I stand here hulking over her shoulder because I can't be trusted to.
He's there to make sure my
nice
wine glass is full, which is great.
It's an important job, yeah.
All right, next we've got kaffir lime leaves, and we're going to remove the vein because we don't want that hard stuff. Yeah, so we're going to take it off like that, and then that's going to also go in your kreung. And we want about, how many of these did we say?
We said 20, yeah, I think.
That doesn't go in there.
My bad. And now, to be clear, Sherry, is it 20 of like the double leaf or the single leaf?
I like what this brings to the kreung, so I mean, you can count this as 1, or you can count this as 1. It comes like this, and so it's up to you. I don't know, like just roughly 20, I guess.
And for those of you who have the ingredients, if you smell it, like it's very limey. It's a kaffir lime leaf, and so it brings like a nice real zest to it, especially when you couple it with that lemongrass.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There, perfect.
Oh, it's too fast.
So that's the kaffir lime leaves. We already have our galangal, and we're gonna do turmeric next. I like to keep mine a little frozen so that I can peel, the skin off easily. So you just kind of take your spoon and scrape it off like this. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm just making a mess. I'm just trying to show you. So 2 of these. Sorry. That's gonna take a long time. So 2 of those. Are you getting the veins off?
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Perfect.
So we have a question from the audience. If you can't find kaffir lime leaves, I think we're assuming we can use lime zest.
I don't know the answer to that question because I've always had this either from my mom's backyard or the Vietnamese Asian market that we go to. But I feel like you can maybe sub it with lime zest. I don't see why you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it is like a lime tree.
Sure.
And then if you just like, zest it, it gives like that same kind of citrusy flavor that you want.
Try it and let us know.
I'm going to say yes. I'm just going to say yes. Let's do it. Yes. All right. Do you want to do that one?
Yep.
And then we also have some chilies. About, what did we say? 8 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do 10. Why not? And then we're gonna throw that.
Especially when it comes to the chilies, they don't really. They sort of enhance the flavor, right? It's just going to add a little bit of heat without a lot of like changing the flavor per se. So if you like spicy stuff, throw as many as you want in there.
Yeah. And we're going through this super fast because we want to get to like the actual cooking part. So once you have, and don't forget your garlic, guys. I think that's the last thing, right? So we've got lemongrass so far, your lime leaves, we've got turmeric, we've got gongal, Thai chilies, and we're gonna do a bulb of garlic. So just take the peel off. Save yourself maybe like 3 or 4 cloves, like set that to the side so that you can use it for your stir fry. And mince that, and then put the rest in your kreung. Fast forward, fast forward. You've done a great job.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Do you slice this, or you just throw it in as
Well,
is?
it's all gonna get pounded into a paste. So if you want to, you can. I just like to keep it whole because it goes into my blender. So it's getting all
Oh,
colorful.
my fingers are all stained.
Yeah. So then we're gonna do the garlic. Just take the peel off. I'll just do this part. You peel. How's that sound?
You see, I just did it without you even having to ask.
I know.
Same thing.
I would think you read my mind by now. After 13 years of marriage.
13 years of marriage, folks.
Watch this knife. So you're gonna wanna do a bulb of garlic. And the awesome thing about this kreung, actually, it's gonna make a lot more than what you'll need for this stir fry. So whatever's left over, you can just keep in your fridge or even freezer, and then use it whenever you need to make your next Cambodian dish. And if we do another one of these classes, we're just gonna say, hey, make your kreung ahead of time, so that you don't sit here and like peel garlic for like 20 minutes.
I don't know. I think it's important to show these details again because this is such a crucial part of Cambodian cuisine. Once you make this, you can use the same thing in a soup. You can marinate some beef kebabs and grill them. So I think this is actually a really important thing to show.
I'm gonna keep a few cloves
for people watching who are judging my peeling skills, you should know that I am not in the kitchen for our business. I help out as much as I can, but that is not my role. I can't be trusted. She basically gives me, well, and it's not because you're rude or anything. It's just like I can't be trusted with anything else. I get the jobs that the kids get. I wash vegetables. I pick herbs.
Right.
I peel garlic. So.
All right. So this is the part that we are going to fast forward. So I don't know if y'all. So this is going to be recorded. So if anybody's following behind or we're going too fast for you, you can always go back to this video and rewatch it and do it at your own pace. But it's going to look something like this. And after that, if you have a lot of time, like with nothing to do, you're going to use the more pestle. You're going to put all of this in here and you're going to pound it until it becomes a paste. Since we don't have all the time in the world and I'm,
or the patience,
we are going to, or I do this, I will just throw all of this in a blender and maybe add like 1/4 of a cup of water, depending on like how hard my blender is working, because it could like burn out if it doesn't have any, room to wiggle around. So we're not going to blend this with you guys, but please, if you need to go and blend, add a little liquid to your blender. Don't break your blender, don't burn it out. But after you blend, your kreung should turn out like this. Little yellow, little, smells super citrusy.
Oh my gosh, the lemongrass and that kaffir lime leaf is just.
So it's gonna look like that.
A little punch of garlic in there. Yes, yes.
So we're gonna set that aside until we're ready to stir fry. And then we're gonna move on to our vegetable prep for our stir fry. So we've got cloves here ready to mince.
Oh, wow, you're ahead of the game. I was about to say, I didn't know what those were doing there.
Yeah, I saw you kept putting them in the bowl. I was like, leave it out. We gotta mince those for the stir fry. Like you said that already last time.
Here, I'll put them right.
Also keep an eye on your rice. Do not set your place on fire. When there's no more water in your rice pot, put your flame to low so it can steam.
Okay, is now the time to do that?
Not yet.
Okay.
All right, so your vegetables for your stir fry. You're gonna need 1 bell pepper, a few stalks of celery, 1 stalk, whatever, and then some jalapeños. We're using 3. And the beauty of a stir fry is you can be flexible with it. Like if you don't have any of this stuff in your fridge, use carrots or use whatever you have on hand. It's super flexible. But these are the 3 things that we're using.
It's the Kreung that makes it Cambodian, not.
No.
Okay. Hey, Rob, can you jump to the second camera just so we can, for people who don't know what the rice? Okay, so this is our rice going. Sherry says now is the time to turn the flame down. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to cover it up, and then it's just going to steam.
That's right. And you can't over steam rice. I think like the more steam you give rice, like the better it's going to be. So, anywho, all right, back to our vegetables. Thanks, Rob.
What a team.
What a team. All right, so I'm just going to just down the middle with this jalapeno on all of them. If you like spice, leave the seeds in there. If you do not, remove it. And Brandon's going to show you how to remove the seeds with a spoon.
Oh, this is quite a trick.
And here's your little.
I don't think this is actually taught in culinary school. This is more an at-home method where you're going to use the tip of the spoon and you're going to carve out the inside. I realize that I may flick seeds over here just trying to show you. But
if you have like super sensitive skin and you like to touch your face and rub your eyes a lot, put on some gloves.
Who doesn't love rubbing their eyes?
And it depends on like the season of the jalapenos, right? Like sometimes we get batches where I'm just rinsing them in the sink and it's like super like strong and I'm sitting there like crying and sniffling and choking. But
Good
I don't know, these are like jalapenos. They're behaving. Take off your stem, go in there. Don't forget these things. So while he's doing that, I'm going to slice this bell pepper in half and do the same thing. Just cut in half and take the seeds out. Ah, scratched me.
Not bad. So at the beginning of this session, I sort of told you guys that when we're asked what makes Cambodian food, that there's a longer answer, but the short answer was Kreung. There's another short answer, by the way, but we'll save that for another lesson. It's called Pahok, and we'll get into that stuff. But the longer answer is that the food of Cambodia has been, oh my God, juice in my eye.
Don't get juice in your eyes.
Is that the politics of the country has also largely influenced the cuisine. So for anyone watching, hopefully because you have an interest in Cambodian food, you sort of had a little bit of background of what the country went through. But in case you don't, in the 70s, the country went into massive turmoil and civil war when the communists took over. And a quarter of the population was murdered, essentially. The cities were emptied out. The army took over the cities. All the populace was sent out into rural areas to farm for the greater good, which was not the case at all, of course. But that experience has really influenced where we are today with Cambodia. So where its neighbors Thailand and Vietnam have pulled themselves out of the tumultuous 70s, Cambodia still really hasn't done that. There's a lot of poverty. There's a lot of corruption. And it's influenced the food in the sense that you never know when things are going to be scarce. And when they're in abundance, you need to plan ahead. And so there's a lot of fermentation. There's a lot of reliance on herbs and spices that can easily be grown and foraged. Even the use of animal protein. They don't use a lot of beef because that's more expensive. Instead, they use a lot of pork because you can get more meat from that particular animal. The Tomasat, which is the main river that runs through the center of the country, gives an abundance of freshwater seafood, right?
Yeah.
But also like bottom feeders, like catfish and mudfish and that sort of thing. So you take what is easily accessible and you ferment it, you store it, because you never know when you're going to have to go without. So that's really influenced the flavors, and that's where Kreung comes in, right? So whereas, Vietnamese food and Thai food may use really like fresh ingredients, like Sherry was saying, when you have a thing of Kreung that you can keep for a long time, you add that to rice or you add it to a simple stir fry and suddenly you have those flavors. So
I don't know if you guys were watching what I was doing while Brandon was giving y'all a very important history lesson. So bell peppers, chop it up into bite size, however you like it. The same with the jalapenos. So make them kind of like more or less the same size because it's gonna give it like an even cook texture. The celery what I'm doing right now with the celery is taking the little hairs off of it so that it's not stringy when you take a bite.
This is one of the things that's a little advanced for me. Sherry always has to take over. I do it too slowly, or I just get frustrated and walk away and go to the other.
And it's really easy. Just like take it off.
It's not.
At the end. And you could even use your hands. Like you don't need to use a knife, and then you've got things like that. And I like to leave the leaves. I like to leave the leaves of the celery. I think it's fun to eat, and yeah.
It's so gosh darn pretty as well.
And then I'm just gonna slice these up, julienne style, like that, very quickly, so we can get on to the fun part, which is our stir fry. All right, guys. So bell peppers, jalapenos, celery, going in there. And Brandon is going to mince this garlic while I move on to chicken. Can I grab a?
Yes.
All right. We got some chicken thighs here. We're using 3 pieces. It's like 3 pieces, 4 pieces.
For 2 servings?
For 2 servings.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, one more time. And you're just gonna trim whatever fat you don't want off of this chicken. And then you're gonna cut that into bite-sized pieces as well. So I'm just gonna do this really fast. Trim. Can you guys see what I'm doing?
So Sherry, is traditionally for Cha Kreung, do you have to use chicken thighs, or?
I like chicken thighs. It's moist, and I think it has like a lot of flavor. I think like when you stir fry with like chicken breast, for example, it could dry out too easily. And I don't know, I just think like the kreung sticks really well with like this chicken thigh. I don't know, good stuff. Anything with bone in is also delicious.
But again, to the point earlier, it's the kreung that makes it Cambodian. So if you're vegetarian or you're just not really up for it, you can omit it, add eggplant. That's the thing about stir fries. You can really add whatever you want, just as long as you have the kreung is key.
All right, y'all. Everyone's doing a great job, by the way. I know we're like moving very quickly, and it's like cheating because, you know, we've got 2 cutting boards and 2 people, and you guys are probably still blending your kreung.
A lot of people are still cutting lemongrass right now.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, y'all.
They're gonna watch the recording.
No, exactly.
Sorry,
exactly.
guys,
So another reminder, this will be recorded, and you could always refer back to it and, you know, call us crazy and names and throw whatever at your screen at us. We feel you know?
We have a question about the mortar. Is there a specific order that you put in the different spices and mortar it? As well as, do you have any tips on how to use a mortar and pestle?
I would do the lemongrass first, because lemongrass is just a pain in the ass in general. Like, she's just there. Yeah, I would do the lemongrass first, because it's very what's the texture? It's just a very hard.
It's grainy. Almost.
It's grainy, yeah. So you want to get that super fine. So I would not share space with it in your mortar pestle until that lemongrass is mostly pounded, and then you can add other things. I would say that's probably like the most difficult, because if you don't get it fine, then you can taste that graininess in your cooking, which is why I kind of like to add a little water when I do it in a blender.
I would say too, it's definitely personal preference. If you want to do something, you know, in the more traditional style, use the mortar and pestle. It's going to be a little harder. It's going to take a lot longer. You're going to get extremely tired, like pounding that. But it also does have an effect in how it tastes. So when we've traveled a few times to Cambodia, we'll you know, the family will make food for us, and it's delicious. The flavors are all there, but it is very grainy. You can only get it so fine with a mortar and pestle. So even though the blender is a little bit like cheating, We tend to like it better because you don't kind of like get that little lemongrass in your teeth afterward. It's much finer. So, but again, it's personal preference. If you want to put in the work and the time and you want to do it the more traditional way, then by all means.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we've got everything prepped. So we've got the minced garlic, we've got all of our bell peppers and the vegetables, the chicken's done, the kreung's done. So now it's ready, we're ready to stir fry, yeah?
Oh, damn.
Let's go. Do you want to grab the lemon, not lemongrass, basil from the fridge?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right, we're gonna go cook now, guys.
So I was talking about Rob, you don't have to cut to me on this. You can just hear my voice. But I was talking about how politics have sort of shaped the cuisine of Cambodia over the years. And one interesting thing is that Sherry's parents, who also live in Austin, are retired, and especially with the pandemic, they're spending a lot of time at home. And they are. Oh, sorry, I see that I'm now in the shop. My bad. They've gone crazy with gardening, and it's like a little Cambodia in Sherry's parents' backyard. And so the basil we're going to be using, may I show this?
Yeah, sure.
Is from their backyard, and this is it's just a fraction of what they have available.
Yeah, we had a lot more of that earlier this week. I mean, she was just like, and they're like growing like crazy all over the place. Insane. All right, before we get started cooking, you're gonna need let's go like this. You're gonna need some oil, your garlic, obviously, a little salt, a little sugar, some fish sauce. We like to use this brand. We go in between, actually, between that brand and this brand. The squid brand we ran out of, so we're not using that today. So we're doing the crab one.
Why? What is the difference, Sherry, between the two, and why would you use one?
In my opinion, this squid one is good for cooking because I think like the flavor of it is a little stronger. And then this crab brand is I like to dice up, Thai chilies and have it on the side to put over my rice if it needs a little bit more, umami. All right, let's cook. So your flame's gonna be on medium. So you're gonna toast up your pot. Get it all nice and hot. And we're gonna let's see, like, I don't know. I'm so bad. I'm turning into my mom. I don't measure anything anymore. I think that was like 2 tablespoons maybe of oil. And we're gonna let that heat. And then when that's nice and hot, throw in your garlic. And just kind of, let it do its thing.
I'm going to use this opportunity to top off my box wine. Sherry, would you like the top off of rosé?
I still got my glass.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna let that kind of not brown too much, but once you can start smelling it, and toasting it just a little, sauteing it just a little. You're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of your kreung. And I think it's like maybe 1 tablespoon per order. And if there's like the 2 of us, we're making a stir fry for 2, it's 2 tablespoons. So grab a spoon. This is the spoon I use. Get your kreung and plop in 2 tablespoons. And since I made my kreung in a blender, I had to add water to it, which it's weird to do that. That's not the traditional way to make kreung, but when you are putting it in a stir fry or when it touches heat, obviously like the water will disappear and then you're back to having awesome kreung. So.
And I know we're moving pretty quickly.
We are.
But when you guys get to this point, oh man, the smells that hit with that garlic in the pan and that kreung hits, and it releases the lemongrass and the kappa lime leaf, and you're gonna have a good day.
So it's gonna look something like this. And just let it kind of do its thing, like stretch its legs and its arms and, you know, get up your nostrils. That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
So,
I mean, like, you can play with your heat. Like, I know whenever I fall back or fall behind on a stir fry and I'm like, oh shit, you know, like I'll turn up my flame and just, you know, that's what a wok is. Like, we just have to do it faster with like higher heat. But we're just gonna do like a medium heat right now.
and about how long you let that simmer and open up the aromatics.
I just try to remove as much liquid as possible without burning it. So, like right now is a good time to throw in the chicken. So that looks good to me. And then we're gonna throw in our chicken.
No, that's why I can't be trusted in the kitchen.
This is my my sous chef.
I should
ladies
turn it
and
around,
gentlemen.
probably.
That's okay. Just plop it in
boy.
there.
Oh boy.
You're doing great.
Am I?
Faster, faster, faster.
Ah! So much pressure. We're gonna throw this dirty chopping block and the knife in the sink.
So just coat your chicken thighs with this spoon so that it looks pretty like that. And I like to season right now, like at this point, so that the salt, sugar, fish sauce combo gets into the meat. So here I have some sugar. I know it says like a tablespoon in our instructions. I like to just go like this. Just grab it and then like cover it like that. I know that wasn't helpful to some of you, but, and you can always go back, you know, once your vegetables are in, to add a little more of what's missing. You can always adjust a little later. So that's my sugar. Fish sauce time. We're gonna go 1, 2. And because I just added liquid into this stir fry, I like to kind of crank up my heat just a little, not quite high, but a little higher than medium. And then this is my salt, and it's gonna be a tiny, tiny pinch because you don't want it too salty. And again, you could always go back and add more. You know, because some people like their stir fries on the sweet side, some people like it a little on the salty side. Yeah, just give this a quick little stir. Coat everything. And if it starts to dry out, like if it's getting too dry and you're burning your chicken, add like a couple of tablespoons of water. It's not gonna hurt. It'll just make your stir fry taste better and a little saltier. And who doesn't like extra salt in their stir fry? So
Cool.
I'm just gonna do a few tablespoons of water.
A few tablespoons of water. Now, why would you add water to it? Just to create the moisture so it doesn't dry
so
out?
that it doesn't burn.
So it sounds like the key here is not to let the chicken brown in the pan.
So the goal is to not let the chicken brown in the
Right.
pan, right?
So the chicken's already going to produce a little liquid anyway, which is great. Like that's what you want. But if you're working with like a high flame, it could burn your chicken. So just kind of like, I don't know, just do a little.
Rob, can you hear that okay? I know Sherry's standing over the sizzling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really clear.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Another question is, why do you start with cooking the spices, the Cha Kreung, before throwing in the protein?
Before what? Sorry,
Why would you throw the Cha Kreung in before the protein?
Oh, just to make it like alive. Not alive. Like you're bringing out all of those so that it's not flat. So adding that heat is going to bring out all of those flavors even more. I mean, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you can throw in the protein and then just put the Cha Kreung on top of it. I just like that extra heat.
It really opens
so
it up.
that it opens it up, right? Yeah. It's kind of like when you're making salsa, for example. You can probably just throw in like your garlic and your tomatoes and all that stuff in like a blender and then call it a day. Or if you want to create that that charred flavor, then you like roast it before you make that salsa, and it makes a huge difference to me.
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so that's gonna cook and do that for a little bit. We can come back here
Cool.
and shoot the shit with y'all. I can have my rosé.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just gonna do its thing for
about how long would you say?
like, I don't know, 5 to 8 minutes. Just
Okay.
kind of keep an eye on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Yeah, let's shoot it or answer some questions. I did want to give you guys a little bit more background on us and why we're doing what we're doing. My intro was pretty brief, but our background isn't traditionally in cooking at all. Sherry was a school teacher. I was an ad guy. We're both from Austin, but we were living in New York. And, you know, Sherry wasn't even, she's always enjoyed cooking. She's always been curious about cooking, but in terms of, you know, her mom's recipes, I'll let you talk about
I
that
liked
experience,
making pasta, you know, and like I liked boiling pasta, and it was very simple, like beginner cooking, like 101 basic stuff. I'm not saying like I'm great right now, but just learning how to cook from my mom was like another beast. And I was like, what? Like, and she just like make one thing, just be in the kitchen all day, and like that wasn't the kind of cooking that I knew.
Right.
But it's very time consuming because everything, like, I mean, shoot, like if y'all are still cutting lemongrass, like you know you know what I mean.
For those of y'all still cutting lemongrass, you feel our pain.
Yeah, anyway, just, and then, you know, it's a lot of ingredients into this creung. But like once you have it, then it's like great because then you can make a soup, you can make a stir fry, you can make like whatever with that creung. Like, you know, it's just kind of a pain in the ass to make it.
But you were a little like spoiled, you know, growing up in your household, because Sherry's mom is known within the Austin Cambodian community as being a superb cook. You know, people, when they have parties, birthday parties, graduation parties, that sort of thing, they'll always ask, you know, hey, Seren, can you come make, you know, X dish, Y dish, you know, she's known for that. And Sherry just grew up in that. And so she didn't have to learn because it was always available.
She has a very natural palate, my mom. So when I was under her, I guess, an apprenticeship when we moved back here from New York, it was very hard to learn her ways because, I mean, like her measuring stuff would be like a bowl of this or a ladle of that. And I remember one time she like filled up a pot of water and she was showing me how to make something. And I was like, well, how much water is that? And she was like, I don't know, just this much pot. And I had to dump out that water, take a, you know, measuring cup. And I was like, okay, so 9 cups of water. And I write that down and, you know, and of course, like now I've learned how to make these, you know, dishes for 3 years now that I don't have to go to my measuring cup, but, you know, as a newbie, that was very, and I didn't care about that food when I was little. I just like wanted to watch Clarissa Explains It All and just didn't give a crap. And then like when we moved to New York and when we moved to Japan, I was like, damn, like I really wish I knew how to make whatever these dishes were that I was a dummy for not learning how to make when I was young.
Yeah, and we were surprised that living in New York, you know, the culinary capital of the world, that was one cuisine that we couldn't find. That's changed, which is great. Cambodian food is actually popping up, you know, on the West Coast, on the East Coast. There's a large scene in Philly and in Oakland, and now in Brooklyn too. You're getting some representation there. But when we were living there, 2011 to 16, we were surprised that we couldn't find it. And we had always talked about doing our own thing, you know, leaving the corporate world. And we decided after 5 years in New York, let's take a left turn and go back to Austin and learn the recipes that Sherry really wasn't interested in learning when she was a girl. And let's learn them and let's sort of lead this charge for an underrepresented cuisine. So we moved back in 2016. It took about a year and a half to learn all these recipes. And yeah, to Sherry's point, it was frustrating at first, and her family didn't know why we would possibly want to do that. And her mom has nothing written down. It's all just like any soul food, you know. It's from the heart, and you just sort of eyeball it, and the smell speaks to you, and the color speaks to you, and that's how you know. But we found a nice little balance between written recipes now, and then, you know, adjusting for taste. And Sherry's really become the historian of her family because no one else knows how to make her mom's dishes. But now she's there to pass it down to everyone.
So I added bell peppers and jalapeños into this chicken. I didn't do the celery because it cooks a lot faster than these two other things, so I'm going to add that in a little bit. And I don't know if you can tell, but this looks dry to me, so I'm going to add a little bit more water.
What is it about it that looks dry? What are you looking for?
Oh, like when I don't know, like because there's no juice at the bottom, like it looks very like this. I don't know, like it looks like this, and maybe my flame's too high, but just I like it because it's now the heat's gonna have to cook the jalapenos and the bell peppers, and so if I let it keep doing that without any juice, then it'll just have this burnt flavor.
I see. That makes sense.
But just a little bit at a time. I'm not doing like a cup or anything. Just a little bit, and then just let that sit again and simmer for just a few minutes, and then you're gonna add your celery, and then give that a mix.
So should the chicken be cooked through before you put in the bell peppers and jalapenos?
Right. The chicken should be cooked through, or at least mostly cooked through, because it's still going to continue to cook once you throw the veggies in there. So I would say mostly cooked through. Yes, that's a good question.
And if you're using like a different type of vegetable, like eggplant or something else, what order should you put this in? So let's say you don't have bell peppers, but you have eggplant. Should it come before, after the jalapenos?
It would depend on the veggies that you're using. Like if you are just doing all veggies, I would just kind of put them in the order that's like, do the one that takes longer to cook.
Like
that in first.
Like hardest first.
Right. Put the
carrots
hardest first
before eggplants, that sort of thing.
Right. Carrots, you can cook that for a long time, so that can go in first. Eggplants get brown and they like wilt quicker, so that can go in a little later. And yeah, I don't know. There is no like, I'm not good with like timing, like with that sort of thing. But I just kind of eyeball it and then just, I don't know. And really, like if you want to know if it needs more cooking time or less, just take it out and eat it. Like does that texture? Do you like the way this tastes? Like if it needs to go a little longer, then yeah. It's kind of like pasta, when you like take a little noodle and you throw it against the fridge, and that's how you can tell if it's cooked or not.
Same thing.
Or you could just eat it. It's like, oh shit, that needs like another 5 minutes. Yeah. You could always taste it. Take it out, taste it. Yeah. So like I can tell that this bell pepper is like giving a little, like it's not as crunchy as when we were cutting it on the cutting board. So I'm going to throw in my celery. And again, then it's going to continue cooking my bell peppers and my jalapenos. So I'm going to throw in the celery. Now, we put the turmeric skin.
I didn't put that in there. No, I scanned mine on the counter, directly on the counter.
All right. So just mix everything together. Keep an eye on it. If you want to lower your flame and let it simmer, and if you're worried about burning your protein or the veggies, just kind of do like a little medium heat. Lower it and just, I don't know, let it sweat, let it do its thing. And then while you're letting it cook down, you can pluck your basil leaves. So we're gonna go over here
yes.
and do some plucking of these.
So I said I'm in charge of the things that the children normally do, and this is one of my tasks. How much am I?
So these stems are pretty big, and because I got them from my mom's backyard, that's one stem right there. And I would say that's about what I use for one serving. So 2 of these. And the more the merrier. If you really love basil, add more. If you don't like it, then don't add it.
There you go.
That's the great thing about a stir fry. I know I said that earlier, but it really is flexible. And the main thing about this particular stir fry is the kreung. And if that is right, and if, that's what matters in this food. And then also like your balance of sugar and salt and all that stuff.
And all of that largely is really to taste,
Right.
If you don't want something overly salty, don't add as much fish sauce and salt. If
Yeah.
you want something a little on the sweeter side, I mean, at the end of the day, what really makes the dish and what you should taste more than anything, like on the front of the tongue, is going to be that Kreung. So when you take that bite and you're like, oh man, look at that zest. I can taste that kaffir lime leaf. I can taste that lemongrass. It's all to taste.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that we're frequently asked about Cambodian food is, do you do vegetarian? Do you do gluten-free? Do you do vegan? Gluten-free we can do. Some fish sauces are gluten-free. In fact, I think the one we used today, or is it the squid sauce that is?
The squid one, the one that has a squid on it, that's the one that is gluten. So we use that usually whenever we have a pop-up or we have our supper club.
Just to be safe, right? The vegan thing's a little more difficult because not just with this dish, but fish sauce is a fundamental ingredient to every single dish we make. So there are some vegan options. I have been told that there are mushroom-based fish sauces that give it a similar umami flavor. However, that's just not how we cook because that's not how Sherry's mom cooked. And that's sort of our mission, is to deliver upon the recipes that Sherry was raised on, right? So we can't vouch for any of those mushroom-based fish sauces, but they are out there. So,
and I mean, whenever someone comes up to us and they say, you know, like, I can't have meat, my friend's a vegetarian, like, maybe just one. We do try to accommodate and create like a vegetarian dish for them because we do want everyone to eat the food, but just sometimes if we omit that one thing that they can't have, it's almost like the one thing that you need in that dish to make it taste good. Otherwise, it's not even Cambodian food. I'd be like, I mean, you can eat this, but I just made this up. This is not Cambodian food. And so if you don't like it, and then all of a sudden there's like a Yelp review, and it's like, oh, I had Cambodian food for the first time from Mama Kong, and it was this and it was that. I'm like, well, it wasn't meant to omit this. And yeah, so that's the one thing that we don't really give on is the fish sauce, because that is just such like it brings all the flavors together.
We were cooking for a party at the bar in Austin. If you're in Austin, Kitty Cohen's, if you haven't seen us there. We're not there anymore, but they've recently reopened. Go check them out. We love Kitty Cohen's. We partnered with them for 3 years. They're our #1 gal. But we were cooking for a party that was booked there one time. And someone came up and they were vegan. And our one dish had fresh veggies, or one of the dishes we were making had fresh veggies. And it was a super savory pork dip. And you know, they were like, what can you do for vegans? And we're like, well, I mean, we can give you rice and raw veggies. And they're like, that would be great. I'd love that. And so we did that. And then a year later, the same group went to Kitty Cohen's and we were there cooking. And I recognized this person, and she was up staying next to a friend who was ordering food. And she said, you know, I was here last year and all they had were raw veggies and rice. And so we made the call right then and there that raw veggies and rice, that's not Cambodian food. So one year we wanted to, you know, help that person out. But the next year, maybe you just go someplace else because that's not the way we cook and that's not our specialty, you know? You can't please everybody, so.
So I lowered the heat a little because basically the protein's done, the peppers are good, and I just threw a handful of basil in here. And basil is gonna wilt pretty fast, so you can probably turn off your flame right now. Actually, that's what I just did, turn off your flame, and it's going to wilt on its own. You don't need to cook that. And
Rob, you want to switch over to the pan?
Oh, it's on.
Oh,
it's
okay.
A little drier than I'd like, because I think we got distracted talking and I didn't add enough water. But this is like super good, edible. I just like mine with like a little sauce. And if you notice, there's like barely any right there. So yeah, and then we're just gonna plate this. And if we have time, do you want to hand me the plate? If we have time, do a little Q&A and just grub. Can I see? Where's my, sorry, y'all. Where's my
What are you looking for?
I don't know rice.
This guy?
No. Sorry.
Oh, the rice paddle?
Yeah. That's it. I have a rice ladle, I promise, but I don't have it right now. So we're gonna scoop some rice. I know, that's okay. Scoop a little rice. Gonna look like that.
It's the ice cream scoop that we use when we're actually serving people, just to make sure that everything's consistent and pretty.
And then we're gonna scoop up this Cha Kreung. Do that. Oh damn. Ah. Almost lost the jalapeno. Okay. And we're gonna garnish with a little basil. Oh, and it's voila. And there's your Cha Kreung, guys.
I haven't tasted it yet. Shall we try?
Brandon's gonna grub and rate my stir fry. It's gonna rate me. All right, and that's.
Ooh, there it is.
People are saying that looks amazing.
Yay!
I want to get the perfect bite. So I love all of it, but I love the chicken. I love
And if you want more
celery
spice,
and the jalapeno. That's the
there's
perfect one.
jalapeno already in here. Oh, sorry. But you can add this guy to it if you want that extra kick and that extra spice.
And again, when you take that first bite, the fish sauce, salt, sugar, all that's there to sort of help out. But what you're supposed to taste is that lemongrass and that pepper lime leaf. Nice job, baby. That's delicious.
He's not lying. I can tell when you're lying. And also, I'm like, I'm going to taste this for myself. It's really good.
So, there it is. Perfect. We have a few questions. Well, it looks amazing. And based on your reaction, tastes amazing. So for our audience, if you have any questions, feel free to chat it in right now. We have one question about MSG. Do you use MSG? What's your opinion on that?
Well, Bran, I'll let you answer this one because we actually watched a. Okay, go on about MSG.
I don't know that I'm.
No, just the misconception, the misunderstanding, how it even. I don't mind it. I don't get those headaches that people talk about. Like my mom, I think still uses it in a lot of stuff. I think it's great. It,
tenderizes meat.
Right.
I don't know that I'm knowledgeable enough about it.
I am not anti-MSG. I do not use MSG.
We
don't have any here.
Yeah.
We've
never used MSG. But I don't know that it's again, I'm not knowledgeable enough. I've just done a little bit of reading about it, highlights that I think it got a bad rap, and I don't recall exactly what the reason was. But the short answer is no, we did not use MSG. We do not use MSG in our food, but we're not against eating MSG.
Right. I'm sure there's MSG, or I heard that there was MSG in everything, even just an oyster, it's a natural. That's what it was. It was a podcast I was listening to. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah, we're not.
Another question we have is, if you're in Austin, what are the best places or supermarkets to acquire some of these ingredients?
So we live in East Austin. A lot of the ingredients that we get for our pop-ups and supper clubs and catering is going to be MT Market in Chinatown on North Lamar. We feel like that's kind of Vietnamese, Thai, Cambodian ingredients. And I think stores like H Mart or I'm trying to think of
Hana World.
It's more Korean and Japanese, and I love all of those stores. But for our specific cooking, it's MT Market.
And you can find castor lime leaves at those other two stores, H Mart and Hana World. But they're going to be in small little packages.
And I think it's a little more
expensive. You can get larger at MT Market.
But lately, our grocery store is my mom's backyard. So, and HEB. So we'll go for like the herbs and all of the stuff that we need to make kreung, and then like go to HEB, or that's our local grocery store, to get, you know, things like chicken thighs or bell peppers and jalapeños.
Yeah.
So Mel says that she used lime zest as a substitute for the kaffir lime leaves, and it still tastes amazing.
Yay!
Oh, really?
And Melanie is asking.
Sorry, go.
Yeah, Melanie is asking if you can't find galangal, could you substitute it with ginger, or what do you recommend?
I am not sure. I don't know. I think the two are similar, but I don't know if they are similar enough to use as a substitute. But I've never tried it, so I can't really.
But I mean, ginger is delicious. I can't imagine that wouldn't taste good.
So let me show you.
So it may taste different, but
we get ours from that store I was telling you about, and we get it frozen. I don't know if you guys can see, but that's our galangal, and we only, like, you saw how much we use for this kreung, and so it's gonna last you a long time if you can like freeze it. Like, it's a root, so you only need about like this much. So yeah, I don't know.
I'd say probably.
I don't know. There's only one way to find out. I think you just have to try it, you know, and then like see if it's edible, and I don't know if you like it. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. We should try that.
We should. Yeah. We're typically like stubbornly strict to Sherry's mom's recipes, because that was our mission, was to move back and, you know, recreate and pass on these recipes. So we haven't really toyed with them too much. You know, we didn't want to be a fusion. We didn't want to, like, you know, use mushroom-based fish sauce, that type thing. So, but no, I mean, I don't see why not. We do use ginger in other stir fries, and it's amazing and has great health quality.
So clam and ginger.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that next time.
Yeah.
Well, that dish looks amazing. So thank you so much for that. We're about time, so wanted to just ask you, where can folks learn a little bit more about Mama Kong's and what you guys are working on and next steps?
Plug it.
Yeah, let me plug this. So, I don't know. We're right in front of a window, so it appears to be a little bit of a glare. Okay, there we go. Can you all see that? So we are Mama Kong Cambodian. Pardon me, I have chicken pie in my mouth.
That's what she said.
MAMAKONG Cambodian. CAMBODIAN.com. Our handles on Instagram, same thing, Mama Kong Cambodian. Facebook, Mama Kong Cambodian. We're more active on Instagram, but if we have something really, really important, like this cooking class, we will also post on Facebook. So check us out. In terms of where we are, so we, a little background about our business. So we were, so we're doing pop-ups, supper clubs, all that stuff that we already talked about. And in early March, we were touring restaurants. We wanted to open up a brick and mortar. We were also taking a look at food trucks, if that could be the fastest way in. That was our priority, was to start serving food 24/7, or not 24/7, but full time to Austin. And then, you know, everyone knows what happened in March. And so we put the pause on that. We were fortunate enough that this is our team right now. So we didn't have a staff, you know, that we needed to look after. So we're being really, really careful about the way that we move forward. We want to make sure that we do it responsibly from a business perspective, but also from a health perspective. So if you follow us on either Instagram or Facebook, we are very actively brainstorming the best way to move forward. This is exciting. Thank you, Rob, for having us do a cooking class, because that's something that we've been asked to do in the past, and we're like, no, we're not going to do our recipes.
And
but
depending on the feedback, we are either going to just jump off the bridge and throw in the towel, or we'll do this again. We'll do another cooking class.
Yeah. So we're looking at new ways that we can express the Mama Kong mission again, which is to, you know, expose people to an underrepresented cuisine. So follow us, and we'll let you know what the next steps are. We plan to make moves soon.
Feedback on today's lesson. I know we went really, really fast, but rewatch it. Let us know what you think, and
I'm gonna rewatch
take
it.
photos of your food and send them to us and tag us. I'd love to see.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That's a good idea.
Whoever's doing the ginger substitute instead of galangal, let us know.
Let us know how it goes.
You can try it.
Yeah, for sure. So we have the Instagram link and the website link there. if you guys do, if the audience, if you all end up making this, feel free to tag Mama Kongs. They'll love to see it. And just wrapping it up, if you had a good time today, feel free to just chat it in. A big thank you to Brandon and Sherry. I think they'll love to see that. So free to chat in right now. And we'll just keep it open for the next few seconds, and then we'll wrap up. This recording will be sent out either tonight, if I get to it, probably tomorrow, most likely. So you guys can watch it for free. One question though, will the recipe be sent out?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Did you already send it out? I thought you had sent it.
So it should have been in everyone's email, right? If you registered. If not,
Yeah, we can post it.
Rob certainly has it, or we can post, you know, on our own channels when we post the link to the video. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll send that out tomorrow with the recording at the latest. So you all will have that for this weekend.
Nice.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, Sherry, thanks so much for your time today. I think it's amazing. We're getting thank
Thanks,
yous from Leah, from Carla, from Zoya, from Heather, from Dave, from Laura, Cassandra. We got a whole bunch of thank yous going on right here.
Yeah, we
Can
really
we
really
choy?
sure.
Okay.
Can I just say though, we really do miss seeing you face to face. It's just not this, like, this
It's
is
not the
nice, but
same.
it's not the same.
All right,
So
Brandon's gonna cry.
so all of our
So
regulars,
there's a
we miss
cheers
y'all. Thank you
in,
so much.
Cambodian, and it's called Chol Moy. Those of you who have been to our separate clubs, it means join one. So join Chol Moy, everybody.
Chol Moy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe, stay sane. Take care of each other, okay, guys?
Bye.